What's up guys, Shouri here, and today we're going to go over Iris and exactly how this underrated character does so much damage by showing you 3 free-for-all games where you can compete even at 1200 rating and even against some of the best clans in the game. So basically, if you're getting headshots, Iris is gonna do a lot of damage. And what a lot of people don't realize is, one, the pie bot, which is what you use to heal, gives you and everyone within a circle on your team 10% extra damage. That is huge, especially in a comp that I'm going to come out with a video tomorrow about with one of the new characters, and it is OP as can be, and it really is just underrated how much that extra damage gives, and you can actually do a ton of damage. As long as you're hitting headshots with Iris, you will be doing that damage, and your Piebot also gives you burst healing every time you use it on whoever it is applied to. So that is a good way to hit your burst heals, and then you can just put them there and they'll be passive as you're over here doing lots of damage. As long as you're hitting those headshots, you can take out actual damaging characters as a healer with no problem. So when you have a full team, it is actually very good. And honestly, not very many people realize how good Iris really is. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that Chemist has such good burst heals that this character just kind of gets thrown to the wayside. But now with the Gatling gun, this character is way better than it was before. And that really just comes down to the simple fact that Gatling needs to sit behind something with a shield, and if you give it a healer as well, and then you put the 10% extra damage on top of that, the Gatling can one-shot pretty much everything so fast, and if you give it a little bit of shields, it can always stay into its slow mode, which does extra damage. And that makes Iris good again. I mean, honestly, it really is all about just trying to get the Gatlin to be able to do as much damage as possible while you and another teammate are playing characters that can support it. This is one comp, there are a ton that you can play. Luckily, Gatlin is not super overpowered to the point of Fort, and I'm going to show you guys a whole lot of cool different techniques you can use and different comps you can run, but it does involve Iris, so I figured I would go ahead and show you guys today exactly what Iris can do. And what better way than to go in at 1200 rated free-for-alls as Iris to show you she really can do that damage and get those kills. Another thing that's really helpful is if you start to get low, pop that Piebot and get used to doing that, because that is something that's very crucial. It can change every 3 seconds, and most people just leave it up until it needs to be given again. You don't want to do that. You want to be proactive, because every time you use it, it burst heals you for thousands, and that is going to help keep your team alive when cooldowns are hit, and just big damage in general. And so yeah, basically every 3 seconds you should be hitting that thing if you're in an active fight, and just don't be lazy with it. And remember, you can do damage and help your team, but it is very important that you are healing. And honestly, that's why I actually like getting better at Iris and free-for-all, because you have no choice but to always use those burst heals. When you're playing in a team setting, you can really just let your teammates just float around, go get their heals from the canisters on the ground, or you can literally just heal them 300 per second at a time. But in this, you don't really do as much damage as everyone else, so you have to have that burst healing, and you get used to having that muscle memory of, hey, I'm gonna pop the heals. Right here, I pop it, and then I come out, and that's literally all I was waiting for, was to be able to hit it, go ahead, get my heals up, and then I can go over and try to kill the Skady. I did end up getting crushed, but that wasn't necessarily Iris's fault. It is hard though, don't get me wrong, it isn't gonna be as much damage as, let's say, a Mark. I mean, it isn't a pure damage character, but it does way more than most people think. And that alone is something that if you can get better at it, people are going to underestimate you. And with Gatlin, oh my god, the damage that these two can do from range, especially if you do Fort or Jabali, it's really whichever one you want. The Jabali gives 14% extra damage, and Fort is Fort. So really, it's whatever you want, but the Gatlin will need to have some shields. Don't worry, that video is coming out tomorrow, and I will go over all the different things you can do and why you want to do them. But for now, we are going to talk back on Iris and in Free-For-All. It really is one of the most fun characters in the world to play in Free-For-All because you know that other team is so mad the entire time because they're losing to a healer in Free-For-All. There is nothing more embarrassing at 1200 plus rating to actually lose to an Iris. And that is pretty much the most fun thing in the world, knowing that if you lose, who cares? You're playing a healer. But if you win, it is really good at getting you used to hitting those headshots with this character. It's also a really good character to be jumping around while shooting. It doesn't really mess up your shots too much, similar to the way Mark is. So you definitely want to get used to jumping while shooting. It'll help you stay alive a lot more. And then if you can just get used to beaming people right in the head, as you saw there, we killed him so fast, it will help you and your team. And as you can see, we are playing good players. This actually was recorded the day before Affiliate broke up, and rumor has it, Pyro losing to a healer, that's why Affiliate broke up in the first place. They were just so embarrassed that this happened, that's why they broke up. Well, okay, maybe I'm lying, but it really did happen a day before AE broke up, so I'm gonna go with the reason that AE broke up is that I beat one of their players with a healer in Free-For-All. I mean, it makes sense to me. Anyways, we are going to keep on going, and as you can see, we are hitting those headshots, and it just melts them down. There's absolutely nothing they can do, because this character actually does pretty crazy headshot damage, and it is just something that if you pair it with the right teams, especially in things like Team Deathmatch or in Payload Race, you are actually able to contribute so much. And with so many line of sights and you being able to wall peek, this character can actually be such a menace to deal with. And of course, your ultimate basically makes you unkillable. One sad thing is you can kill through the Iris ultimate pretty easily with the new Gatling gun character. But since that's probably going to be on your team in the next video, it's not as bad, I guess. But right there, we are able to kill the Victor, because sometimes Victor bots, if they use their ultimate, have this glitch where they won't shoot until they die. I don't know why it does that, but I am glad it happens, because God, after a Victor hits its ult, it's really annoying, especially if it's a bot. But anyways, we are going to keep on going and get slaughtered by AE Pyros. Yeah, I mean, you can't win them all. But right here, I do spawn right next to a Victor bot, and that is the most painful thing in the world. But luckily, we are able to get out of it, and that's what I'm saying, guys. The heals are so good. You can burst heal for so much every 3 seconds. You have the residual heals that heal by the second, and then you have so much damage if you're hitting those headshots. And this is what makes this the most underrated character, especially when it comes to the support classes. I mean, no one really uses it because Chemist has such good burst heals that no one really needs to. But I think Gatlin changes everything for Iris, and I think Iris is going to make a pretty good comeback on something people are going to use. So I'm going to make a video about it tomorrow. Like I said, I'm going to show you us winning a bajillion games in a row. Most of it's going to be from my point of view on the Gatlin, but I might also make a tutorial on exactly how to play with teams as Iris. Let me know what you guys want, and if that is something you would like, I'll do it. Right there, we do take 140k damage. We had 75k heals. We had a pretty good 39% hit rate, and we only really died 9 times, going 15-9. As far as going on a healer at this rating, we did pretty good, and I'm pretty proud of it. I mean, we did make AE break up because they lost to a healer in free-for-all, right? I mean, at least that's the lie I'm going to keep telling until it's true. But on a serious note, thank you guys for watching. Tomorrow we will have the video out with the new character, and I'm going to show you the comp that I think is the best with it in different game types. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Thank you to my channel members and donators, and I hope you all have a great day.